What's up, YouTube? Jeff and I were just talking. How do we start this thing?
I know. Where's the button?
Not how do we begin the conversation? No. Where's the button that we push to make it go?
This whole video thing. I don't know. It's pretty new to me. I don't really understand. Like, what do we do?
The whole go live and all that kind of stuff. Right. Well, hey, listen, guys, welcome back. Jeff, I'm excited for this episode, pal.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Brent. John Bray. I'm actually a little bit nervous about this episode. I think there's a lot of pressure on us. Right. I've been reading the comments here on YouTube recently. People are really excited. People are already throwing out thoughts. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on us, but you know what? I've been married for a long time. I'm very comfortable disappointing people.
I'm gonna let that one sit right there. We are here today. We're taking a break this week from Babylon 5. We've just spent the last 23
because we also watched The Gathering.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that one? 6 months ago.
We've just spent 6 months. That's crazy. So we've just spent the last 23 weeks watching Babylon 5 for the very first time, as you guys would know. And we're at the end of season 1. We have not I haven't watched the next episode yet, Matt, Jeff, whatever your name is. Have you watched the next episode yet?
Not at all. No, I haven't even clicked season 2 on the HBO thing yet. Haven't even gone that far.
Okay, I might have done that. But I was just checking out like episode titles like coming forward, you know. They didn't tell me anything. So
they never do.
No, they don't. That's why we do the whole guessing game. But we decided we just kind of take a breath for a week and do sort of a wrap up of season 1. Like that just happened, and let's consolidate. Let's bring it all together before we head off into the next great adventure. So
people have already been clamoring for like Babylon 5 for the second time rewatch sort of a thing. That's what this is. Like, we have to stop and reflect. I don't necessarily want to watch all of season 1 again. We'll talk about that. But yeah, we're just gonna take that minute and look back. Now, stuff that we loved early on, we do see completely differently. The story moved so much.
I gotta be honest. The truth is, this season is very blended together for me. Trying to separate it out into the individual episodes, kind of getting ready for this, looking back at the various episodes, like trying to remember what happened where and when, and the different little pieces. Like it's the whole season sort of blending together. So anyway, that's what we're talking about today, guys. This is all the pre-show stuff. This feels like this should have been in the show. Like once we hit record,
might be. Right? You might hear all this again.
You're right. So anyway, YouTube, you guys are here. This is our recording of the show. This is the show about the show. You guys are going to get to watch this, and there's my camera, right?
Yeah, with the red light on it.
Yeah. The one with the light.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we are going to be recording the show. So that's what this is. This is the unedited, behind the scenes, raw video footage of how Jeff and I put together the show. So if you're of the podcasting variety and you want to listen to us on the go, you can find us anywhere out there on any major podcasting platform. But if you're of the YouTube variety and you just want to sit here and watch us, you get the full Monty. You get the full Centauri frontal.
I was going to say, you get all the tentacles.
I heard a great joke the other day. Jeff, you ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh?
How many?
Tentacles. There you go. You're welcome.
That's great.
I told my kid that. He immediately texted his grandfather, who was like dad joke king, and they just had a hoot about it for the rest of the day, and I was happy to have that bonding moment brought to you. Anyway, guys, Jeff, let's start an episode, man. Let's talk about, this is our season 1 wrap-up show.
This is going to be awesome. Ready?
Let's
do it.
This is my first time.
First time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time. Not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I'm watching Babylon 5 for the first time.
Well, I'm John Prady, Chuckle Nugget. It still makes me laugh. And Jeff, I'm not watching Babylon 5 for the first time.
Whoa.
I have watched Babylon 5 season 1 for the very first time.
That's right. We did it. We watched all of season 1, all those people early on that were all drop out. They'll watch Infection and we'll never see them again. Hey, we are still here.
Yeah, we made it. We absolutely made it. And we are having a bit of a celebration today, Jeff. We're taking a time out from our watching party, which this is honestly killing me because we sort of left everything in a loop. It wasn't quite a cliffhanger at the end of last week, but there was definitely some threads that were not complete. But we're taking a week just to catch our breaths and look back on the entirety of season 1 and just sort of wrap the whole thing up, chew on it just a little bit before we get sent off into this next chapter. I think it literally is like the next chapter of the show. And with that, we'll be talking about that. And we're also going to be doing a super cool giveaway.
Yes, we are.
This episode.
This is awesome. Awesome. Tell them about it.
Yeah,
what are we giving away?
So our buddy Wash, who is one of our great listeners here of the show, he designed and printed a 3D model of the Babylon 5 station. And I think I've had it sitting backwards on my shelf back there. Like I've had the back end pointing forward because I just realized this is what I'm still trying to figure out what's what on the station, but apparently this is the front. Here's the command globe area and the launch. Anyway, this is super cool. If you guys are just listening to this on the podcasting feed, you need to go check this out on our YouTube video. Jeff, we should also take a picture of this and post it up on our social medias.
That's a really good idea.
Why haven't we done that yet? I blame you.
You should. You totally should.
So
I'll blame my team. I'll just throw them right under the bus.
There you go. So we're going to be giving this away to a lucky listener who has sent in a one of those things. Yeah. That's it right there. One of the reviews. You guys have been sending in your emails and stuff here over the last couple of weeks saying, "Hey, I sent one in," and we're gonna give this one out. Although I got to be honest with you, Jeff, I don't wanna.
You're gonna.
I want to keep it.
Yeah,
I really want to keep it. This is
away.
cool.
If you're on YouTube, I got it right here. I got a bag, and in the bag, it's I'm trying to get it on camera. Like it is full of names in here. These are all the names from. Oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time with.
How many is that? Because honestly, on camera, it looks like 3. How many is actually in there?
So I'm trying. I know when I printed these out, I
don't need an exact number. Give me a ballpark. Like
there's around 40, 42 in here.
No way. It seriously looks like 3 on camera.
Really?
Yeah. It doesn't look like that many.
I needed more than one piece of sheet, more than one sheet of paper to print it off in a way my old man eyes could read it. So
okay. Well, we'll give this one out later,
soon.
Jeff.
Soon.
We'll give it out later.
I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of.
We won't.
We will.
No, maybe we won't.
Maybe we will.
I should add. It also comes with its own little stand too. It's like it's a freaking Eagle Moss station over here, man.
Right.
So
I'm excited, and also, like we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, we haven't been reading the reviews that have come through because, like I just showed you, there've been a lot of them. Keep them coming in, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna have other stuff, and what's cool is not only do we have a bunch of new reviews come in, but people who had reviewed us in the past are also included. So the ones who, some of them took screenshots and sent those in as well. So they're included in the drawing. Who knows when our next drawing is going to be or next giveaway or whatever. So make sure you get those reviews in. So when we do another one, you're entered.
It really just depends on when Wash, prints at least 2 more of these stations so I can keep one the next time. And then we'll give the next one out or whatever. If anybody else wants to send something in for us to give away, guess what? We'll give it away.
We'll totally do it.
I think we can confidently say it will at least be on the season 2 wrap-up show. It may or may not happen before then, though. I don't know.
Never know.
We'll see.
Never know.
Jeff, I really want to keep this one for myself, though.
I know you do. Well, hey, if you, well, no, we're gonna send it to an awesome listener.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Jeff. Hey, let's get to talking about this season. So we've just wrapped up season 1, and I'll toss it to you first over here. What are some of your overall impressions from the season as a whole?
I really enjoyed this. We've talked a lot about, and I guess an excuse, like a pass that we've given more than once is, it's 90s sci-fi first season kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think of the 90s sci-fi that I've watched, this is about as good as a first season gets. Like right now, there's kind of like there's peace, but there's not peace. We've talked so much about why are they even trying to do this, but the season kind of gave us a really good idea of why, right? Not only are these races clamoring for each other, but the races themselves are fighting. The Centauri feel like they're falling apart. The Minbari have stuff going on in Earth. I mean, Brent, they killed the president. They killed the president.
They did. And installed their own dude. I mean, this sounds like something that may be happening here in real life sooner rather than later.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I think this was definitely 90s season 1. It had a slow start. I'm not gonna lie, and I might say this a couple more times, but there were in some of those early episodes, I wasn't sure I wanted to keep soldiering through. Like we had a couple conversations about like, oh my gosh, if this doesn't turn around, but I mean, between episodes like Babylon Squared, Mind War, Chrysalis, like this season wasn't meant to be like, here's the whole story. This season was meant to be like, here's the table that's now mostly set for the story that's coming.
Is it though? Is it really mostly set?
I'm going to guess it's mostly. There's only 4 more seasons, right? And
they got to get to some stuff now, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess if you think about it in terms of like a 5-act play, a lot of times we think about a 3-act play, but let's talk about it as a 5-act play. A typical episode of television is in 5 acts.
Yep.
Right. That first act very much is let's introduce you to the characters and let's set the scene.
Yeah.
The next one. Exactly. The next one is where they really introduce the problem. So maybe that's what season 2 is. Like, we're really going to introduce the conflict, like the big conflict of what's really going on. Like, we've kind of said that. So I don't know. I'm with you though. For people out there wondering, Jeff and I don't share notes and talk about this stuff beforehand. We just don't. But I literally started this off. I said, as far as the first seasons of 90 sci-fi television go, this one was really good.
Yeah.
It was better than Next Generation season 1. It was
100%.
better than Sequest.
Yep.
It was better than DS9. Might even be better than Voyager. I really liked Voyagers even in season 1, but I have a really soft spot for Voyager, more so than a lot of Trekkies out there.
Voyager, I'll say the pilot for Voyager. And also, by the way, we're suspending our Star Trek game for today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not even playing along with that.
But I think when you look at when Voyager came out, it got to learn from DS9, TNG, Babylon 5, and so many others. And that shows. Like, it was one of the mostly well put together first seasons.
I think it was too. And honestly, I think Enterprise had a pretty decent first season as well before it got all weird. And even Enterprise had some low points. I don't know that it was better than Stargate.
Okay.
Than that first season. But even Stargate's first season was still a first season sci-fi show season. Yeah. So this one ranks up there. It was really good. There was a lot of mystery in this season. There are a lot of what the heck is going on that carried through the episodes. There was intrigue. There was lots of laughs, which I think is important for any show like this, and probably is one of the places where honestly Star Trek misses a lot. Is there's the levity just isn't often there. And that's not to say there's no levity in Star Trek. There certainly is. It's just
it's few and far between, and it's not always done very well.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. There are characters that we've already become endeared to. Like, there are characters that I absolutely love.
Yeah,
care about like their people. Favorites. Yes, yes, absolutely. You usually don't get that in a season 1 just yet. Lines have been drawn, and we have chosen sides of like where we are on many of these lines. I think this season 1 has given me everything I need to confidently say that we are going to make it through this whole series. Not just because of the podcast, but like I will watch the rest of this show just based on the quality of season 1. And I think, Jeff, that we just need to stop asking ourselves if we should have watched this sooner, because it's an unequivocal yes, we should have watched the show sooner.
So I don't agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead. No, that's fine. What?
I think, I mean, on one hand, yeah, because it's great and I'm loving it, but I don't know that if I watched this when it came out, with my age, with the other stuff that I was watching, with my maturity, how I could look back on it, I don't think I would have appreciated it the way I do now.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think it hits well because essentially I have trained my entire sci-fi life to be able to truly appreciate Babylon 5.
See, now what you're doing though, Jeff, is you're giving me the like, okay, listen, I made a lot of bad choices in my life, but those are the choices that led me to become the person I am today. So, no, I don't really regret it. That's the answer you're giving me here, man. Come on now.
It is, but it's true. and I know this because 17-year-old Jeff watched 1 or 2 parts of these episodes and laughed it off and never looked back.
Right. That's probably true. I mean, I didn't come to sci-fi as a whole until I was in my 20s, often doing my own thing as well. So, should have watched this maybe 30 years ago? No. Should I have watched it 20? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
Let me give you some of the negative stuff though of the season. I don't want to say negative, just the not glowing stuff.
Yeah.
I still don't feel like we know much about the future or how things operate in this world and how things are laid out. Like I have no idea like what's close, what's not, where like I think I saw a map one time over the course of the season. Somebody sent it in. It's like, it's not a spoiler. Just here's the map of the future of where all the spaces are. Without that, I would know nothing.
Yeah.
And I compare that to other things. You still tend to have somewhat points of reference. You also get these clues smattered in of how did we get from us today to them tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have those connective tissues just yet. Those haven't come through. And I feel like I'm missing those. And there's probably a lot of people out there who are like, it doesn't matter. Or of course they did. Here's where they said it. Okay. I just didn't pick up on it in this one.
Yeah.
We don't know really what caused the war between Earth and Minbari. Like, I think we've got a pretty good handle on the Centauri Narn thing, but we have no idea what really happened with Earth Minbari.
Yeah, we know that Dukat was killed. That's all we know. But
who was Dukat? And what? Okay, he was the leader of the Great Council. Awesome. Why were they even talking to Earth for at the time? Where is all of that?
How does that launch into a holy war that lasts as long as it did with as much, violence has happened? Yeah,
exactly. And we know absolutely nothing about the Vorlon.
Yeah.
I've come to a point by the end of the season where anytime something comes on screen that I don't know what it is, or something's coming out of the jump gate, it's a Vorlon ship. That might not be, but that's what what I'm thinking is it's a Vorlon ship, right?
Well, I think it's hard, and maybe this isn't fair, right? But the pilot was built around the mystery of the Vorlon. So on one hand, they're mysterious, but we got that, and I think we saw Kosh 6 times in 22 episodes, and sometimes we saw him and he did nothing. So it's like, hey, we built our house on this thing,
right?
You're not going to see this thing again,
right? And when we saw Kosh, he obliterated people.
Exactly.
He comes in and he's like, yeah, I just killed Deathwalker. You guys aren't ready for that. And then he bounced.
He's the one who looks Morden in the face and he's like, he's like, they're not for you. Back off.
Yeah, exactly. Or, Delenn goes to him and he's just sitting there breathing like Darth Vader. And she's like, I need to see you. And he doesn't say anything. He just does a thing. And she's like, okay, I got it. And she walks away. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
What is this people group? And that's where, you said that the table's set. And I'm like, is it really? Because I still have these issues. And I've got one more. And I really am wanting to discuss this as far as what we have seen on screen, not what's going on off screen. Our captain, our commander, whatever he is, we don't really know him. We don't know much about him. He has these walls up, but he still is kind of awesome sometimes. But there's a block, I feel like, to this guy. And I don't know if it's supposed to be like that or not. I find him to be very stiff. And I don't know that it's his acting as much as just the way he's being written, what he's given to work with, you know? I almost wish that he was the kind of character that they actually wrote him so that you didn't like him very much.
Yeah.
But then he was awesome from time to time. Like, you're like, okay, I see why he's the captain. I see why he's in command, but I really kind of don't like him. Like if they're going to go this route with him, like, he's gruff, he's mean, he's damaged goods. You know, he's got this mystery behind him of what happened to him with the Earth Minbari War. And he's like, I kind of just want him to be a jerk sometimes, but then be right.
Yeah.
Kind of like you would buzz me if we were actually keeping track of these. Captain Jellicoe. You know, like, you're a jerk. I don't like you, but you're right.
So almost more of a Captain Pierce who got it right sometimes.
Yes.
Like, yeah. I think where I almost feel like I'm the jerk instead of him, because for a lot of it, I did not like him. And it wasn't that I didn't like him. It said I didn't know enough about him. Like you were saying, I didn't know enough to like him. And so, yeah, like me, I'm the one who decided to not like him. And then every now and again, he was awesome. And it's like, am I the jerk for thinking this guy's not cool, or is he a jerk, or is it just not well done?
Yeah.
I think the whole Sinclair thing was just a mess and a lot. And I think there was issues with his writing. Not gonna speak ill of Michael O'Hare personally, but I think if he got his hands, like his mind wrapped around who the character was, it took him 18 episodes to get there. You know, it took it because through a lot of it, I don't feel like he knew who he was trying to be. And so it just turned into a lot of you and I talking a lot about, like, he's a terrible leader. He's doing this awful thing, but he's then closer to the end, but he's also a really great human. And he's also experienced extreme trauma.
But then he does something like awesome, like By Any Means Necessary, where he ends the strike in the way he did.
And hooks up Jakar and Londo both, and just literally solves everything in a magic, awesome way.
Exactly. So now with that on the other side, they've nailed Londo and Jakar.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the gold of this entire show. Even Delenn, the actress that they have portraying Delenn, I wasn't sure about her at first, but I'm like, for what she is supposed to be, like, I'm great with her.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan. You and I both were big fans of the sidekicks.
Totally.
Veer, Natoth, Garibaldi. Is he the sidekick of Sinclair, I guess?
When the spinoff happens of the sidekicks, yes, Garibaldi's going to be in there with him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And we don't, and Kosh doesn't have one, so whatever. And I want more of them.
And I think they were so well done also, because I remember hating Linear. I had zero patience for the guy. And now I'm just like, especially when we got up to, I think, the Quality of Mercy, it's just like, I love this guy.
Hey,
He's
where it turned? You know where it turned for me was the episode where he put together the motorcycle.
Totally. It was totally
was that Eyes? There was Eyes or Legacies. It was one of those two, I think.
Yeah.
And he that's where he turned for me. And then by the time we got to Quality of Mercy, and then even into Chrysalis, like, he came into his own finally. And it's like, we liked him in the very last part of the season. We didn't see Veer hardly at all in the last part of the season. Like, we fell in love with Veer, like, right in the middle, like in those middle couple of episodes. And like, if you remember the time where, like, Londo was just embarrassing him in front of other people, and then all of a sudden he grows a backbone, and you're like, hell yeah, Veer. And then he's a complete idiot again. And you're like, that's funny too. But like, I want to see something happen with Veer. And then Natoth, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment she beat the ever-loving snot out of Deathwalker, I'm like, I like this girl. And I'm so glad they recast whoever that original attaché person was that came in that one episode.
I still liked her.
Did you?
I did. I liked her right away. Yeah. But when we got into Toth, it's one of those things where, for me, that first one came in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And then Natoth came in. I'm like, oh yeah, she wasn't that good. Like, I'm glad she got pushed out an airlock.
Yeah.
Natoth is so much better.
So Jeff, we don't have this in our notes, so I'm going to call an audible here. Let's talk real quick about some of the recastings in this season that we saw. Mostly these are going to go from the pilot into the regular show. So we just talked about the attaché for Jakar, right? But we also know that the doctor changed. I don't know that was a good change. Visually, it was good, but in the end, I don't know that it was a good change.
I loved everything. What was his name? Was it Dr. Walker?
No, it was only
doctor?
Ben.
It was Ben something.
Yeah, let's just call him Ben.
Yeah, I loved everything about that guy. Everything. I had no complaint whatsoever.
He had that Dr. Mbenga feel to him.
Yeah.
That I loved. Yeah. And then they bring in Dr. Franklin, who I want to punch. Like, because I am not on the Dr. Franklin train at all.
At first, I was okay with it at first. I thought,
sure,
he looks good. He sounds good. I liked that initial attitude, that he had. But then we watched that attitude grow and change. And it's just like, oh, you're an objectively horrible person.
Yeah. Like when we got to Believers, and then was it Quality of Mercy? I think it was Quality of Mercy was the one that put the cap on it for me. I was like, I'm done with this guy.
Yeah, where it's literally like, hey, I'm the only guy who can run an illegal clinic around here. Like, whoa, who do you think you are?
Right. I mean, this guy needs to turn to like House. Did you ever watch that show?
Oh yeah, I loved House.
Where let him be the anti-hero. Let him be the guy that you don't like. Kind of what I was talking about, the way I felt like they should have wrote Sinclair. Let him be that guy and just let him be hanging around and be a source of tension and friction. So there was that. And then probably the other biggest one was recasting the
Takashima
lead.
the
Takashima role, the EXO role. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. We went from Takashima to Ivanova. A lot of people out there apparently don't like Takashima at all.
I know.
You and I were big fans of her.
I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
That said,
Ivanova's better.
Yeah, I would trade nothing for Ivanova. Ivanova's amazing.
Yes. Absolutely. Ivanova is amazing. All right, Jeff, let's get back to our notes with where we are. So how about this? And I think this would be fun. And I don't think this needs to be a terribly long exercise. I want to rank the season.
Okay.
I want to go through and let's just talk about we're going to talk about all 22 episodes and we're going to go real fast through these. But let's just put them in an order of ranking and I think you and I probably have some sort of consensus, but here's the way we'll do it is we'll throw out the name of the episode and we'll put it on. And then you just have to decide, is it better or worse than which episodes does it fall in between?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It will when we get into it.
Yes. So hold on. I need a map of here we go. Okay. So number one, we'll just put it straight out there. I probably should have done some graphic here for the YouTube folks. Sorry, YouTube.
I don't know. I feel like we need some game show music or something.
Right.
We're very unprepared for this.
Having transition bumps for the show as a whole, Jeff, would not be horrible. All right. We'll go with episode 1, The Gathering. That's got to be the first episode.
Okay.
Now we'll go on to the next one. Midnight on the Firing Line. That's the episode where Jakar's people blew up one of Londo's planets. Do you put that above or below The Gathering?
Above.
Okay. The next episode is Soul Hunter.
Below
The Gathering. So we've got I think
the answer is just below,
right? So we've got Gathering, we've got Midnight on the Firing Line, then we've got Soul Hunter. Nope, sorry, Midnight on the Firing Line, Gathering, Soul Hunter. I'm not going to do this for every single one. All right, the next one was Born to the Purple. I believe that was the one where Londo fell in love with a girl.
Yep.
And she stole all his stuff.
Who hasn't been there? I mean, my goodness.
Right. Where do you put this one?
I put that one just below Midnight on the Firing Line, but above the other ones.
I put that one above Midnight on the Firing Line.
Did you really?
Yeah, I liked that one a lot better. That one, and I'll tell you why, because it like that one touched me. Like I remember because that was the one where Londo was like, I don't want to be an old man who this was a different episode, but the same idea of he forgot how to dance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was a little bit of
it led to that. It made that
it
work. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah,
So
I won't argue with that.
Great. I'm glad you saw it my way. All right, moving on. We now have our second favorite episode of the entire season, Infection.
Yeah, I'd put that one above Soul Hunter, and that's it.
I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the next one then becomes all right. So our top 5 then are number 1 is Born to the Purple. 2 is Midnight on the Firing Line. 3 is The Gathering. 4 then becomes Infection. And 5 is Soul Hunter. Okay, so that's our top 5.
Yeah.
Now we've got to talk about where we're gonna drop these next ones. Okay, the next one is Parliament of Dreams. I believe that was the one where we talked about the religion across the station. Londo got up on the table and kissed his god's butt. Where do you place this one?
That's going on the top right now for me.
Is it above Born to the Purple?
Above Born to the Purple.
Above Born to the Purple. Okay, I did not have that one that high, but I'll give it to you.
I think it sets so many of the tones for what happens throughout the rest of the season.
I just remember not liking the episode. I remember that episode was just kind of blah, blah, blah. And then it came down to like this one line from Sinclair at the very end that was like, okay, that was pretty good. But also Londo flailing on a table, like you just can't. And wasn't that the one that Sinclair also got married to Minbari or something?
Yeah,
like
possibly.
That? Yeah, possibly. Right. All right. Our next episode is Mind War. This is the one with Chekhov and the whole Psychop people.
Yeah, and Iron Horse.
Yeah.
Or Jason Ironheart.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm going to put this one just below Born to the Purple.
I had this one below I had it between The Gathering and Infection.
Yeah.
Like I remember not liking this one a whole lot. Like it had Chekhov, that's cool. Taking that out of it, I was like,
there's nothing else. Yeah.
Yeah. But you said you had it under Born to the Purple.
Yeah, that's right. I initially have it, but I could drop it underneath The Gathering.
Okay, we'll do that.
Do that.
Not that I think any of these are going to stay in the top 5, except for maybe one of them.
We'll see. That was a very threatening thing for me to say right there.
It was. It was. All right, next episode, The War Prayer.
That's going to the top.
Absolutely. That was our first DC Fontana episode, right?
I think it was the first time we were both like, I loved this episode.
Exactly. Because that was just a fantastic episode. All right. The next one was in The Sky Full of Stars. We got a little bit of Sinclair's backstory in this one.
I'd put this one just underneath The War Prayer.
I think I had this one just underneath Born to the Purple.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'm gonna go with you because these are all kind of running together with me right now. So Sky Full of Stars. Okay, so currently we are War Prayer, Sky Full of Stars, Parliament of Dreams, Born to the Purple, Midnight on the Firing Line. The Gathering has dropped out of our top 5.
It's a much better top 5.
It's getting stronger. All right, the next episode is Deathwalker.
I'm going to put that at the top of our list so far.
Oh, above War Prayer?
Above War Prayer.
I had it just below War Prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sell me on overriding War Prayer.
I'm trying really hard to.
It was a fantastic episode. It really
Deathwalker was just so good, and I think this is the Star Trek fan in me because it just put that, like, it literally asked the question that, hey, if Hitler showed up, but he could cure everything, would we be cool with Hitler walking around? You know? Right. God, that was so good.
Yeah.
But I think in the context of Babylon 5, I think the War Prayer really did a lot more setting the tone. And Without the war prayer, nothing else in season 1 almost would have made sense.
Right, but what was a better episode? What was a stronger episode? You might be right. Deathwalker might really,
God, it was
like
so
on
good.
its own. Deathwalker might have been a stronger episode.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna put Deathwalker at the top. I'm gonna
I was
go
gonna
with
say
you.
even like the actor that played it was so over the top, but it worked for Deathwalker. You know, like it's just it, and it had Natoth beating her down with a wrench.
Absolutely. Oh, right at the very beginning, and we'd been having that conversation about like how do people just punch each other on the Zocalo and nobody bats an eye, like right in front of Garibaldi and the station commander. Nobody's like, yeah, whatever.
Unless you're Natoth, then you get brought in.
All right, next episode, our favorite episode of the entire season, Believers. Where do we put this one, Jeff?
I'm gonna put this one. So we've got Deathwalker, and then the
War Prayer, Sky Full of Stars, Parliament of Dreams, and Born to the Purple.
I'm gonna put it just under in the Sky Full of Stars.
That high.
This was a great episode.
That high. No, this was not a great episode.
I mean, it's horrible. It was a terrible episode, but you know what? You and I both watched this, and I mean, the emotional reaction that this elicited from us. I mean, that's great storytelling.
Which is why I also have it right below Sky Full of Stars, which puts it into the number 4 slot on our list, pushes Born to the Purple off of the top 5.
Wow. Yeah.
I know, right? Right. But yeah, I mean, the emotional hit that episode took, when you think about it, just as in the context of an episode itself, I will be perfectly happy if I never ever see that episode again. I'll be perfectly happy if I never ever see Schindler's List ever again. It's a fantastic movie and everybody should watch it.
It's a great,
but I don't ever need to see it again. You know what I mean? All right, next episode, Survivors with Leanna and Uncle Mike.
Yeah. I think this one's going to go below Midnight on the Firing Line for me.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. The only thing is I have Parliament of Dreams way below. Yeah, this was not a great episode overall. The Garibaldi stuff is what made this episode watchable and memorable. The rest of it was just
and specifically Jerry Doyle's portrayal of Garibaldi's stuff. Like,
sure.
And we're going to talk about this in a couple other episodes coming up too. Also, where like a person's performance is what saved this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that, as opposed to a person's performance, which almost killed this episode in the same episode, coexisting.
They almost canceled each other out.
They really did. They really did. All right. Next episode, By Any Means Necessary. That's the one with the strike.
Yeah. And I still have feelings on this one. Myself, I would put this one, I think I would put this one just above Survivors.
I'm going to argue with you on this one.
Okay.
This one needs to be way higher.
Really?
This was a good episode.
So this was a good,
despite the union leader.
This was a good Sinclair episode. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way it wrapped up, and the way he kind of pulled stuff out, and what he did with Londo and Jakar, and you know, I really loved the little touch of, as the episode went on, he got more and more ragged looking.
He had the 5 o'clock shadow.
He did his uniform was like unbuttoned and stuff. And
is this the one? Is this the one where Londo got in the elevator and to Jakar put up his?
Did the
yeah.
Yeah.
Was that this one?
I think it was. This was because this because Jakar was doing the whole Jaquaneth thing.
Yeah.
In this episode.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Where do you think
I'm just saying, I have this one on number 3. I really liked this episode.
What?
Yeah. This is above In the Sky Full of Stars for me.
Wow. Hold on.
Jeff had his biggest job off the floor, folks.
Wow.
You can negate me. We can meet this in the middle and put it somewhere, but it's not going as low as Survivors.
I could see this being in our number 5 in our current top 5. I don't even know where that puts it, but I could see it being there. But
that's going to knock Believers. That's going to knock Believers off the list, which I'm A-okay with.
Yeah, I think so.
I am A-okay with that.
I just did not like this one, but
no, I'm sorry. That knocks Parliament of Dreams off the list and leaves Believers in at number 4.
Okay.
I will give you that. I'll give you that. Okay. Next episode then, moving on. Signs and Portents.
What's our top 3 right now?
The top 3 is Deathwalker, The War Prayer, Sky Full of Stars, Believers, and By Any Means Necessary.
So I kind of want to put this one just below In the Sky Full of Stars.
I had it just below Believers.
Okay. Yeah, I can
Just so
agree
you
with
know.
that. Yeah.
And while I personally had By Any Means Necessary above this one, I will slot this right in between. So that pushes By Any Means Necessary out of the top 5.
I feel good about
Signs
that.
Importance at number 5, which means it's on the bubble of top 5 anyway.
Yeah.
And Signs, yeah, this was the one about they found the eye, the Centauri eye, and we got What Do You Want, Dude?
Yeah, this was the season 1 mid finale, essentially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I just it was a fine episode. It just wasn't super memorable to me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think maybe looking back on it, if we look back on this episode when we get to like season 3 and 4 and we know more about the impact of that, because there's stuff that has to do with this What Do You Want guy, which we saw come back. The ship that just obliterated everybody, which again we came back, introducing those kind of pieces. I don't know if there's going to be a coup. Well, no, there can't, because that dude died. Because I was gonna say there's gonna be a coup on Centauri or something like that, but that dude died, so that's not an issue anymore. Yeah, I don't know how impactful this episode is going to be overall.
I think this episode overall is going to be very impactful. Like, I think and I think it's going to be impactful in this coming season, in season 2.
You think so?
We'll talk about it at the end a little bit.
Yeah.
But as an episode itself, I don't know. It's just, you're right. Like, it had moments.
Yeah.
But as a full,
if that episode is impactful, I'm gonna say it's like that one episode in Deep Space Nine where they first mentioned the Dominion sort of offhandedly at the end of the episode. Like, the episode wasn't about that. They just mentioned it and threw it in there, and all of a sudden that became what the whole dang show was about by the end. Like, but this was the first mention. Like, that would be the kind of impact that I would foresee this one having. Although I don't know, it's got to be What Do You Want guy. Like,
I think it's got the Morden stuff, and then I think it has the Babylon 5 station blowing up, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
And the Morden
which
stuff
they totally waffled on. They waffled on at the end of that episode, though, Jeff.
They did.
This is only a possible future. The future is constantly being rewritten. Oh, I hated that part.
I loved that, but then also that's reading through the Dune series multiple times. Like, that's magic
sci-fi
tension.
That sci-fi 101. That's here's the future. You can still change it though. It's unwritten. Great. The future's unwritten. I mean, we've seen every show. Anyway, let's move on. TKO. This was the boxing episode. Man, nailed the prediction on this one.
You did.
The boxing episode, but also this is Rabbi Koslov and Ivanova doing her grieving process for her dad.
So, in preparing for this, gave some thought to like what were my bottom couple, what were my top couple.
Yep.
TKO for me overall was my number 5 favorite episode of this entire season.
Really?
I, to this day, loved TKO. Loved it. I'm not going to die on that hill though, because I understand my tastes and your tastes. Or where did you have it?
I want to do something that's probably not right. You can negate me on this one.
Okay.
I want to slide TKO into number 4. I want to leave Signs Importance at number 5 and drop Believers to number 6. We're going to flip-flop Believers and Signs Importance.
God. Okay.
Because I'm with you on, I really did like the episode. I didn't have it as quite as high as 5, but I did like the episode. But I don't know that I want to lose Signs Importance out of the top 5 just yet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
I'll tell you, in my ranking of all of them that I did, or that I did there, I had TKO at number 5 and Signs Importance at number 6. So this lines up for me.
All right, number 4. Well, let's find out if this is your number 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. Grail. This is the episode with David Werner where he comes in, and Jinxo and the Ombeds, we met them, and then you had the hillbilly extortionist dude and all that. Where'd you put this one?
I'm going to put this one just above Infection.
Really?
This was a terrible episode.
What?
This was hey, hold on. Let me hit the rewind button here. There are some episodes saved only by the portrayal of the actor in the role.
Uh-huh.
Okay, back up to yeah. If David Warner was not in this episode, it would be borderline unwatchable.
But David Warner was in this episode,
Yeah, which is why I don't
which
have
is
it below Soul Hunter.
which is why I had it at number 4 on
What?
my list.
What?
I loved this episode. I loved the whole, like, taking the acting aside, the not Kosh, the Egger suit of that thing that was like, that was a brilliant piece of storytelling work. The Ombuds getting to meet him, Jinxo, his whole storyline of being the curse of Babylon 5, the dude coming on looking for the Fountain of Youth or the Holy Grail or whatever he was looking for, but in reality he's passing on his mantle, literally his mantle, his staff, his cloak, and Jinxo's going to do something with this. Unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to see Jinxo again.
No,
He's just going to go
no
off
way.
and do whatever. But I would love to see him come back around and have this be a part of the story later on. You know, this real Peter Pettigrew wormtail looking dude, just be awesome. Because he left the episode wearing David Warner's uniform, and he looked like my kid wearing my suit.
Totally.
You know? like I want to see him grow into that and become that. So I quite liked this episode. But we've got to decide where we're going to place it in our unified deal. I'm okay with it not being in a top 5. I'm okay with that.
What is our, like, what's 6 through 10 look like right now?
Okay, 6 through 10 currently is Believers, By Any Means Necessary, Parliament of Dreams, Born to the Purple, and Midnight on the Firing Line.
I could live with this right above Parliament of Dreams.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
I can put it under, I can live with it under Grail or under By Any Means Necessary.
Yeah.
But I'll die on it. It's not better than Parliament of Dreams or Born to the Purple or Midnight on the Firing Line. Okay. Despite your protestations that it's number 3 from the bottom, you crazy. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
All right, Eyes. This is the one with the 2 Psychop guys coming in and doing their thing. What'd you think about Eyes?
Well, hold on. I'm going to rewind here really quick again. Some episodes are only saved by the portrayal of the actor in the role.
Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Jeffrey Combs, and even with him, like, what do we have at the bottom? We've got Soul Hunter and then Infection. Is that what this is? Yeah, I'm going to put this just above Infection.
Well, my bottom was Soul Hunter, Infection, and then I actually had Mind War because I really didn't like that. And then I had Eyes.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
We'll put this. And actually, that's how we have it right now. Is we have Mind War, now Eyes, Infection, and Soul Hunter.
Look at that.
So we'll leave it right there. We are lining up mostly. All right, Legacies. I think this was the one where we found out about the little psychic kid. Like she went all Jubilee and her powers manifest. I don't remember anything else about this episode though.
If I think long enough about it, I think that says a lot, right? That it was like, what was this one even about?
Right. So where'd you have this episode?
So I think I have this one just above or just below. If I'm seeing your list right, I think I have it just below Parliament of Dreams.
Yep, me too.
Okay,
that's it. This is a very and I don't even remember what this episode was about that much. I remember it being a very middle of the road episode. I didn't hate it. I would totally watch it if it came on. This is the laundry. I call these laundry episodes.
Oh, this was the one with the Minbari war leader who died and was
Delenn.
Delenn.
Yeah, and dude had to go apologize to Sinclair at the end and all that.
Naroon had that awesome. Yeah.
And again, I'm doing housework while this epide's on TV.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Like it's that type of an episode for me, which by the way, tons of Star Trek episodes are like that. All right, moving on. We're getting real close here to the end of the season. A Voice in the Wilderness Part 1. I'm not putting these together because these are 2 very different episodes. Voice in the Wilderness Part 1. Where'd you have it?
I have a Voice in the Wilderness Part 1 I'd say just below Survivors.
Oh, me too. That's exactly where I had it.
Wow.
Way low. It was a horrible, like nothing happened in this episode. Everything happened all at the same time.
I have it rated above Soul Hunter, obviously, but Soul Hunter has more of a place in this season than this first part episode did.
Yeah, but I didn't want to shoot myself from watching this episode the way I did Soul Hunter. You know, So yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Now let's go to A Voice in the Wilderness Part 2, where I correctly predicted that the dude was going to become the new Battery.
Hey, you nailed that one.
Oh, dude.
I've got
What you
this
got?
one just above and The Sky Full of Stars.
Oh, I have this one way higher.
Yeah?
Yeah, this one was my number 5
Wow.
on the season. I liked this episode. It was a fun episode.
It was, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It wasn't very Star Trek at all, but it was a ton of, actually, it was very Star Trek. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah, this top 10, but not top 5.
All right. Here's our top 5.
Yeah.
Deathwalker, War Prayer, Sky Full of Stars, which I still can't believe that that's a high. Anyway, TKO, Signs Importance. And then the bottom 5 of the top 10 is Believers, By Any Means Necessary, Grail, Parliament of Dreams, and Legacies. I would venture to say this needs to at least be above Believers.
That's kind of where I was going to slot it
but
there.
Is it above Signs Importance? Don't try to think of Signs Importance as important to the whole story. Just as a standalone episode, what's better, Signs Importance or Voice in the Wilderness Part 2?
I'm going to watch Voice in the Wilderness before I watch Signs Importance.
Are you going to watch TKO or Voice in the Wilderness Part 2?
TKO.
Are you going to watch Sky Full of Stars or Voice in the Wilderness Part 2?
Probably a Voice in the Wilderness.
Yeah. So I'm going to do one of these
little swappers.
Weirdy. Yeah. One of these weirdy woo things. TKO is moving up to number 3. Voice in the Wilderness is going to number 4. Part 2. And then I'll ask you here. What do you watch first? Sky Full of Stars or Signs Importance?
Sky Full of Stars.
Okay. Sky Full of Stars. Okay. That knocks Signs Importance out of the top 5.
I know we just upset some people.
I don't get it's a better, but you talk about a standalone episode.
Yeah.
What's the better episode? This is the one we're talking about. Okay, moving on. Babylon Squared. This was the one where we found out about Babylon 4 and that blipping in and out of existence, and then they rescued everybody except for the one guy or something like that.
What's our top 2 right now?
Deathwalker and War Prayer.
I'm going to put this right above Deathwalker.
At number 1?
I loved Babylon Squared.
Really?
Loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had this one at number 9. I had it in my top 10, but I didn't have it at number 1 by any means necessary.
Look at that.
I don't think that's what I meant. What did I mean? By any means? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
All right. So you're putting it up at number 1.
That's where I'd put it.
Convince me that this episode was better than Deathwalker.
So Deathwalker is so amazing because of the questions it posed, the huge intergalactic political stuff, and the questions. Babylon Squared was just a fantastic episode of science fiction, right? You had time travel, you had phasing in and out, you had weird aliens that weren't explained, you had mysteries around the one. Is the one Sinclair? Is it Delenn? Why is there a blue spacesuit? There was so much going on here that was fun and exciting and only made sense because of the entire season leading up to it.
That's fair. I'm going to slide it in at number 1. You convinced me. I think you remember this episode better than I do. Okay. Moving on then. We got 2 more episodes. The Quality of Mercy. Where do we drop Quality of Mercy? This is the one where you just referenced earlier. Franklin had an illicit clinic, but then so does this other girl, and Franklin's all like, my clinic's better than your clinic.
Right.
And somebody was going on trial. Something. Oh, yeah. We had the whole murder thing with Talia Winters, which I don't actually know what came of that, but go ahead.
I feel like, and I've lost track of where we are, but this is 13-ish for me. Not quite bottom 5, but
yeah, I had this one at number 7 on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it's a good episode. Again, I can watch this episode anytime it's on TV. I liked it more than I did Born to the Purple. Born to the Purple was real emotional. This one still had some beats to it.
You know what saves the Quality of Mercy for me though? I mean, honestly, right? It's Londo and Lanier.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Okay, so let's do the litmus test. All right. What do you watch first? Signs Importance or Quality of Mercy? What's a better episode? It's okay to say signs of importance because we had what do you want, dude, and that whole
Right.
thing.
I think that's where I'm
Yeah.
going. Is
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but is it better than Believers?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes, it is. Which puts this at number 8 then on our list.
Like Believers should it should be so much more, but also I mean I think
Believers should be so much lower because it's objectively not a great episode, but it hit so emotionally hard. Yeah, and it asked such wonderful questions, and it did everything that you need a sci-fi episode to do, even though it's not a fun episode at all. Like yeah. And I can hear people screaming out, it's like, how could you put that episode this high? That's why. All right, last episode then, Jeff. Chrysalis. Where do we place Chrysalis? The season finale.
I really like this episode.
Yeah.
What's our? I think I've got it.
All right, here's our top 5. Here's our top 5. Babylon Squared, Deathwalker, The War Prayer, TKO, Voice in the Wilderness Part 2.
I want it. I see it either just above or below War Prayer.
Ooh, I'm gonna knock it down a couple spots. I don't think it's in the top 5, but I do have it at number 6.
Yeah,
and here's why. Here's my reasoning for the episode's not done. We watched this whole episode and it left so many things open. It didn't leave us with any sense of completion, but it's not a cliffhanger all at the same time. So it is its own episode. As an episode of TV, it was a good episode. That's why it finds itself so high. But it's not one that I just want to come back to watch. Like it'd be like watching I can't even really say that. It's like watching the first half of a cliffhanger and then not watching the second half.
Well, I feel like it's a season finale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
it is.
It does that. It's a season finale that's not a cliffhanger, which there's not a lot of examples of that, you know, in our sphere. But right. I think it was a fun episode. It was great. It did cool stuff, and it ended exactly how it should end for a season finale. Like it set everything up. Moving it, like you're not going to just watch this one as like it's a standalone episode. You're going to watch it as it's a standalone episode that ends a really packed season.
All right, so let's apply the litmus test. Chrysalis or Voice in the Wilderness Part 2?
Chrysalis.
Okay, TKO or Chrysalis?
I want to say TKO. TKO is just.
I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
You want to say TKO up top? I think, by the way, here's my guess. There are going to be people yelling at you about TKO being
100%.
I think there's absolutely people yelling at you.
But I'll meet them in the Mutado. I'll meet them in the Mutado, and we'll see.
All right, let me run through the list, and then we'll move on. This took way longer than I thought it would, but that's okay. It's 22 episodes. All right, at the top, we got Babylon Squared, Deathwalker, The War Prayer, TKO, and Chrysalis. That's our top 5 from season 1, Jeff.
It's pretty good.
And then rounding out the top 10 is Voice in the Wilderness Part 2, Sky Full of Stars. I'm sorry. I know, folks. And The Sky Full of Stars, Signs of Importance, The Quality of Mercy, and Believers. And then rounding out the bottom of the season, the middle to the bottom, By Any Means Necessary, Grail, Parliament of Dreams, Legacies, Born to the Purple, Midnight on the Firing Line, Survivors, Voice in the Wilderness Part 1, The Gathering, Mind War. Surprised that one wasn't higher. Eyes, Infection, and then no surprise, Soul Hunter at the very, very bottom.
Well, now that we've put together the definitive rankings for Babylon 5 season 1.
No one can argue.
Bring it on. I think from here we should I think I know who yours was, but let's talk about who our favorite regular or recurring characters were in the first season.
Okay. I have 2 answers here.
Mm-hmm.
I have my favorite character, and then which character would I want to be?
Oh, wow.
Like if I was cast in this show, which role would I want to play versus who's actually my favorite character in the show? You said you think you might know who mine is. Who do you think it is?
I'm going to say it's Ivanova.
You think I want to play Ivanova?
No, I think that she's your favorite.
No, you're absolutely right. Ivanova, and that's no surprise if you guys have been listening to the show. I've said it so many times. Absolutely have fallen in love with Ivanova, and I don't mean that in a creepy, I got a crush on her kind of a way. She's a beautiful woman. I think I made a comment in one episode where she's waking up in the morning. I'm like, how is she waking up this beautiful every morning? She has no bedhead. Her makeup's in perfect place. Her mouth tastes like carpet, apparently, though. But whatever. No, like she's a great character.
Yeah.
She's funny. She's got wit. She has all those Russian sayings, which it's such good writing the way she goes to that. She kicks ass when Sinclair's like, get these people off the bridge or the command bubble, whatever that thing is called. How many times do we see her do that? Like kick people off the stage at least 2 or 3 times throughout the course of the season. And they like where they wouldn't listen to Sinclair, they followed her. She looked at somebody at one point and said, I do hope you're going to resist. Or what was it? It was Liana. She's like, we're doing all this stuff. You could have asked. And she go, okay, fine. I'm going to ask. Nope. Still can't do it.
Yep.
I was like, yes. Ivanova. But yeah, she's a great character. She's an absolute great character.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeff?
My favorite was Garibaldi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that one too. He's great.
I wanted really bad to say like Londo or Jakar, but they were in like less than half of the episodes.
That's true. You remember how many episodes we went through? We're like, yeah, there's just no Londo or Jakar in this episode. I wonder if we go through this list, how many of these episodes at the bottom just don't have Londo and Jakar in
I know it's what is the common factor in all of these?
Right. But
somebody
out there is doing the math on it right now.
Oh, totally. But I think, we talked a lot early on about Garibaldi specifically and how we didn't know him. And what we did know about him was creepy, right? Like the creeping on Talia Winters, the Duck Dodgers stuff or whatever. But as they developed him, I think of the 3, right? Garibaldi, Sinclair, Ivanova. He and Ivanova for sure are the most developed of them. But I think that we've gotten the most dives into Garibaldi.
I think I could say this. Ivanova and Garibaldi are developed, but the difference is Ivanova was fully realized from her first episode.
Oh, immediately. You knew exactly who she was.
Ivanova didn't change from episode 1 to episode 22. We just found out more about her. Yeah, and it all made sense. Garibaldi seemed to change over the course of the season, meaning like they just rewrote him a little different here and there. And there might have been stuff like they always knew, like if you go back and watch, he's probably drinking water the entire time.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's probably something subtle like that. Oh no, they knew who he was. They wrote him as creepy.
Totally.
And he got way less creepy by the end. I mean, dude's building a motorcycle in his living room, for God's sakes. Like, Garibaldi's great. What they didn't do that with, or who they didn't do that with, was Sinclair. That's our problem with Sinclair. Like, they tried to develop Sinclair. They tried to do stuff with him. It just never stuck.
Yeah. It didn't
and we
work.
still don't know. Okay, I'm gonna give you my other one now.
Yeah. Who do you want?
If I was casting the show, it's Londo. I want to be Londo. He is by far the funniest. Just he's got so much emotional range. Like, because we see him like down and out depressed at some points, and you see him absolutely just sticking it to Jakar. Jakar has no sense of humor. Like, Jakar is a little baby, and Londo's just, and then we get full frontal Londo at some point in the season.
Yeah, that happens.
Which is weird.
Thanks for bringing that up.
This man's, he's in the casinos, he's in the bars, he's in the other joints, adult only joints, which is not okay. Maybe I don't want to be. I don't know. That's not my scene. That's all I'm saying. It, like in real life, Brent, that's not my scene. But it's a fun character to play. I think Londo would be an absolute hoot to play.
I don't know who I would want to play, to be honest. Like, Londo's the easy answer, I think, for all the reasons you just said. You're like, oh my gosh, that'd be so much fun. That'd be great. In a way, I kind of want to be Kosh, because apparently I just sit in my room and watch TV all day. Like, just stare into the Guardian of Forever and call it good. So those are our regular and recurring characters, but I bet we could agree on who the best guest star of the season was. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you how many times did you say this episode was saved by somebody's acting?
Yeah.
And by somebody being on, and it's got to be Chekhov, right?
Well, I think you can totally check that box off real quick. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's not him. All due respect to the great, whatever his name is.
Walter Koenig.
Yeah, that guy right there. I should have known that. Wow. Trees are like,
Here, I just
sorry. There you go. Mind blank right there. It got wiped. No, it's David Warner. It's got to be David Warner. The gravitas he brought to the show in one episode has carried through so many episodes.
100%.
And
100%.
I had that episode listed at 4, truthfully on the strength of his performance
Alone.
But I mean, I meant every word of what I liked about that episode, but his performance sold it. Much in the same way, I guarantee you, if somebody else had played that Cardassian torturer in Chain of Command Part 2, that episode would be entirely forgettable, except you had David Warner going against Patrick Stewart in a torture chamber. Oh my, I mean, that episode just sears into your brain.
Did you know he only had like days to prepare for that role? Like he was a last minute plug-in.
Yeah, because somebody else was supposed to do that episode and they had to back out. And he just brought, like, he was reading the line, like he had cue cards.
Yeah.
For his lines, because he didn't have time to memorize his lines.
And he defined that role. And in this one, he was playing opposite a rubber flappy tentacle thing. And he sold it. Like I believed
both in real life, a rubber flappy tentacle, but also as an actor. Because let's be honest, Jinxo was not was not a stellar casting spot either.
Not at all. Hey Brent.
Yes.
What do you think? Is it time? Should we do the drawing? Should we do the giveaway?
No.
I think we should.
No, I don't think so. Let's save it for the end. No. I'm not ready to get rid of this thing yet.
You're precious right there.
Yes. My precious. It's mine. It's mine. He shall not have it. He's
all
tricksy.
Right. Brent, we are going to give this thing away.
No.
It's going to happen. But
yeah.
Why don't you hold on to it for a few more minutes?
Okay.
I'm a generous person. You know what's cool is that 6 months ago, you and I didn't know anything about this show at all. Like nothing. Now here we are. We've watched an entire season of it, and we still have so much that we don't know at all.
Yeah.
What would you say on the season, like the biggest questions you still have open, or what were kind of the biggest reveals that really, really hit you?
So I think the biggest question of the entire season has been, why did the Minbari pull back during the Earth War? Yeah. What happened in that 24 hours with Sinclair and that dead hole of his memory that caused the Minbari to pull back? We know that the other side of that, just to further that question mark quite a bit, is that there was a whole list of people much higher than Sinclair that the Minbari said no to, and they got a say in who was going to command the station, and they stopped with Sinclair and said, he's our dude. We know that the dude came out and was like, hey, if he ever remembers any of this, then we're going to have to kill him. And you got the whole Great Council and what's going on there. Why is Delenn here and not part of the Great Council? And that ends in this whole prophecy thing and her going into the cocoon and all. Like, this is all wrapped together somehow. And I think that's the biggest mystery. And I am unsatisfied with what they have told us about this mystery so far. Like they continually like try to answer something, but then they drop a whole bunch of new questions and they never actually answer. Like, I'm okay if you answer a question and that develops into a bunch more questions, but they never really felt like they answered. They never told us what happened in that 24 hours. We just found out that it did. And we know that Sinclair remembers.
Yeah.
And we know that Delenn's part of the Great Council, but like, we don't really have any answers, just more and more and more questions. So
it really is like the clickbait thing, right? Of just like, hey, there's a missing 24 hours in this thing where a lot of things happened. In fact, what we know is that the Great Council eventually called for a surrender. But let's talk more about what happened in those missing 24 hours after this. When we talk a little bit about this, it's just they kind of keep reframing and stretching out. But They give you this little nugget each time where you're like, oh, okay, so there was a triangle cross he was hung up on. Oh, now he knows it's Delenn that was doing it. My fear on that, because that's my big question as well through this, but my fear is that this is the next 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And I really hope we get, maybe not resolved in this one or whatever, but I got, just tell us what happened and start telling the rest of the story.
Just tell us what Sinclair remembers. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, okay, I'm going to go back to the Harry Potter series. One of the things that works so good about the Harry Potter, regardless of how people feel about the author right now, what makes it such a masterpiece is there's the story of what's happening right now, and then the mystery of what happened prior to the story that we're reading right now. And there was that, like, we didn't get the whole story really, even all the way through the end, through like halfway through book 7. You know, but we got enough answers through book 1, and then we got a few more answers in book 2, and we got a few more answers in book 3, like actual answers that helped us piece together, and they led to more questions, but it was piecing things together. Currently, we don't have anything to piece together. We just have more questions upon questions. So I need to know, I need the answers to start coming to this question. You know, to justify what, like, why did Delenn go into the cocoon? Okay, it's a prophecy. Okay, what's the prophecy? Like I need answers as to why, not just she's doing it because, you know.
Yeah.
The other one that I have, and I think this is really the other, I don't know if this is 2 separate ones or not. Like, there's the one, like, Kosh is a mastermind of something. Like, what's his deal? And we've talked about that a little bit. Like, I mean, the man just comes in and says no. And you know, like I said, it's come to a spot where anytime somebody comes through the jump kit, I think it's the Vorlon about to do something. But Delenn mentions a few times that prophecy lady that came through in Signs of Importance.
Yeah, Lady
Ladira, yeah. She talked about the shadows coming, and then there is this really cool part that I don't think I talked about it on our episode, but I did on the recap or the watch video, Jeff. There's this part where he's in the what do you want guy? Morden, right?
Yeah.
He's in with Delenn saying, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And she has that, like, the triangle things coming through her head, and she's like, oh my gosh. And she turns around and looks at him, and all of a sudden the lights on him go down and he's in a shadow. And she's like, get out. And then the lights come back up, and he's like, what do you want? What do you want? So what is this shadow? Like, and my best guess is it's a harbinger of death kind of a thing. Like a Grim Reaper, only they actually are like a form of people. Like, but what is the shadow? Does it have anything to do with Earth? What's going on? What does it have to do with Kosh? Because I feel like there's got to be a connection somewhere. Because remember, Morden and Kosh had that thing of like, they're not here, they're not yours yet, or they're not for you.
Yeah, they're not.
Stay
for you.
away. Like something. There's a connect there. So, those are probably, I think, the 2 biggest ones that are outstanding to me right now: the Minbari Earth thing, and then this whole "what do you want" guy. Is he a shadow? What is a shadow in the future, and what's going on with Kosh?
Yeah, I think all I have to add there is on the question, because I have those same questions. I think I have 3 to add. Well, 4. Okay. 3 real ones. One is, how does Epsilon 3 and Drawl plugged into that great machine?
Oh, yeah.
How does that interact with all of this? What's the deal? What's the deal with Babylon 4 and the Great War and Zathras and the One and that whole thing that doesn't really fit anything else? It's literally like, hey, here's the timeline that somewhat makes sense. We have huge gaps and holes in it. And then here, 40 pieces over, you have one other puzzle piece and nothing, no connective tissue.
Would you be satisfied if you found out that what happened to Babylon 1, 2, and 3 was literally somebody came in and destroyed, like, they just didn't want it to be there. And by the time they got to Babylon 4, like, they were okay with it, or maybe they weren't okay with it, maybe they were on their way, and then somebody blipped Babylon 4.
So that's kind of my theory on 1, 2, and 3 is that I'm not going to throw it just on Home Guard because we've learned that there's a lot of other Earth stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I'll say the anti-galactic movement on Earth went because Earth dollars, tax dollars were going to build these things. They're like, heck no, not. They went and blew it up, and then they went to do it to Babylon 4, and bloop, it was
maybe
gone
it's
too
the
soon.
shadow thing,
maybe
or something. Yeah, I don't know. Something's going on that's going to force it, to happen. Anyway,
the other question I had was, how are they going to show us that the Great Egg is actually the answer to every question that we have?
Dude, I'm telling you, Kosh is the Great Egg.
He is.
He is. He is the guy. Like, he is their god, and they just didn't know it.
Right. And then my last one that's a little dark that I don't remember if I said in Chrysalis or not, but what TV taught us was if you get engaged and not married in the same episode, there's a good chance not good things are going to happen to one of you. So is it Sinclair or Catherine Sakai that gets I don't know, something not good happening to them?
Sinclair's on the DVD cover, so
probably, yeah. Sorry, Catherine.
Sorry, Catherine. Right. Although I will say that, that didn't quite happen though with Cisco and Cassidy Yates.
But you could say
it was within like 2 episodes though.
But you could say it didn't go well because he left his pregnant wife to go live as a god.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was literally like it was all a part of the
like the arc.
10 episode arc. So it was kind of all the same episode anyway that it happened in. But anyway, all right. Well, Jeff, I think then we have reached that part of the show where we're going to boil this all down and see if the show has any of that Star Trek-y quality to it. Maybe it has a deep moral message. Wait, this is sounding really familiar. Are we trying to do this with this wrap-up show?
With the season.
Oh, for the season. Okay, well, let's continue then. We're going to see if maybe it has a deep moral message to it, or maybe we're holding up a mirror to society. Are we giving a hope for the future? What are we doing? We're going to rate the season on a scale of 0 to 5 deltas. And Jeff, last week we talked about adding a new rating because we've kind of said we've come to a point where like Babylon 5 has now established itself as a Babylon 5. It's not a Star Trek ripoff. It's not some sort of second-rate sci-fi show. It really is its own show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not an allegory like what Star Trek is. Star Trek is allegorical. That's by its nature what it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is not. This is its own thing. And I know we talked about you talked about doing the Minbari Aang thing.
Yeah, the blue
thing. That's a
head.
little weird. If I could make a change to that, let's rate it in Star Furies because Star Furies are awesome.
Star Furies are awesome.
Star Furies are awesome. So we're gonna rate this based on deltas. How Star Trek is it? How much of a hope does it give us? Because that's sort of the gimmick of the whole show. But also, how Babylon 5 is the show.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to, as people we are so well versed in what Babylon 5 is, we've only seen one season and we are now experts on the show. So
we're veteran Babylon 5 podcasters now. We did a whole season. So I think, and Brent, we published the definitive ranking of all of the season 1 episodes. Yeah.
Yes.
We get to do this.
All right, Jeff. So what is it? How many deltas do you give the season? And how many Star Furies do you give the season? And I'm going to stop asking whether or not we should have watched it before because we just should have.
We've answered that.
Yeah.
I think this is really hard because I think that the Star Trek like messages that we get are rarely the intention of the episode. It's a lot of times when we had this conversation a few weeks ago where they're just lines, that are dropped like, oh, that's a really good line. And if I riff on this in my own brain for a while, I can get to a really good Star Trek message. But there are definitely moments, right? I go back to Infection and Sinclair confronting that Akaran weapon guy, Sinclair, again, lawyering his way through the labor dispute. All those things, a lot of the stuff that Delenn and Drawl set us up for. It's really great Star Trek-like moments. I think the season... I don't think it was, like you said, this wasn't an allegory. This wasn't meant as a series of lessons on how we get better as a species. this was a season about setting the stage for an epic, epic story. Just happens to weave in these moments of reflection and some honestly pretty scathing commentary of the state of the world today in 2022, even though it was released in 1994. Like, given that, I think I'm going to give this. I'm going to give this 2 deltas on the season because I think that it definitely hit some stuff, but not a lot. But as Star Furies, well, we just went through all the episodes, and this was a pretty inconsistent season, right? The highs were pretty good, but the lows were very, very low. So 0 to 5 Star Furies is what we're doing. I'll do 3 Star Furies for the season. What do you think?
So I would just like to remind people that Jeff and I do not share notes and how this works. I also gave it 2 deltas. I did. I gave it 2 deltas. And I said, this is what I said. I said, there were times where this show was so Star Trek. You just put it in a different universe and you'd swear that it was Gene Roddenberry's mouth out there talking. But it was usually very much its own thing. It was a single line or 2 out of an episode. Occasionally the episode would lend to the whole thing, but not very much. I can definitely understand if this show was pitched as a new Star Trek series to Paramount, why Rick Berman and crew would have ultimately passed on it, because this is not a Star Trek series. This does not exist to give you hope for the future or to go that route. Michael Piller would be like, yeah, we're going to create a good show, but we're going to focus on characters. Like Michael Piller would eat this up.
Yeah.
But as far as doing what Star Trek does, there is some crossover. There's some layover between the two. It's not very much. And so I say 2 deltas. I think you probably could get 2 deltas out of just about any show, sci-fi or not. Like, yes, that is a lesson you should be able to live by.
Yeah.
I do still think that sci-fi, more so than any other genre out there, should be able to give us a hope for a better future. Unless it's just trying to destroy your faith in humanity, because you have that sort of a outlook on life. I look at a Battlestar Galactica, maybe one of the best first seasons in all of sci-fi. I didn't even mention that one earlier.
There you go. Yeah.
But I mean, you talk about the scrappiness of humanity being able to stay alive in the face of obliteration. Like, what do you do as humanity when you have infiltrators right there in your midst and you don't even know who they are? You can't even tell the difference. Like, that's what sci-fi does. And that being said, I think that Babylon 5 has set its own course, but as you said, it was very inconsistent. I still don't feel like I really know what Babylon 5 is just yet.
Right.
Is this political intrigue? Is that what this is? Is this go in space and shoot them up space? Are we moving towards a big war? Like, Deep Space Nine, it moved towards a big war by the end. Is that what we're moving towards? Again, that still could go back to political intrigue. Is this a commentary on stuff at the time? Is this an original work? Like, I don't really know, but I do feel like Babylon 5 has set its own course. So, like you, I gave it 3 Star Furies.
Well, look at that. Brent.
Yes, sir.
It's time.
No,
it's time.
No, Jeff, we got more to do, man. I know the show's getting long. Listen, this is a wrap up. This is a whole season wrap up. This is going to be a double length episode.
We're pretty close to that.
Anyway, we're getting there, and we're not there yet. We still have more to talk about, man. I'm not ready to give this thing away yet.
Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna flip a coin. Oh, wait, I don't have a coin, so we're just gonna do it. It's time, Brent. You've got to let go. Can I count on you here?
No. God. Okay, fine.
We're going to do this. So again,
I'm just going to sit here and pet it while you
right,
destroy my dreams.
There we go. A whole bunch of these in here.
Uh-huh.
So let me shake it up a little.
So just anyone who wrote in a review, whether it was on Apple or Good Pods or wherever people, Audible, any place where people could leave a review, and then they emailed in a screenshot.
Yep. Emailed or tweeted it to us. Okay. Yeah.
So our awesome listeners.
Right.
I guess I don't mind this going to an awesome listener.
I am.
Although I wouldn't mind keeping it, to be honest.
Like as I'm reaching through here, I'm like, there are a lot of these. You all really stepped up for this. All right, here we go. Oh, I keep bumping my mic when I do this. Bryn, it's Bryn, Bryn, Bryn Talon.
Talon?
Bryn
Like
Talon.
Like a eagle's talon.
Bryn Talon.
Well, okay, Talon. I guess we'll be just email us in your email us in your address. And I'll get this out in the mail to you.
Bryn Talon. Is this Brent Allen? Brent,
you weren't supposed to realize that.
Wow. I'm going to have a talk with my daughter because that's literally the only way this could have gotten in there. That's
Well, we do know that your daughter and my son are doing their own show here soon. So
exactly. Okay. Wow.
Hey, you can't blame me for trying.
It was pretty ingenious.
I told you.
What if I didn't draw it? What if I hadn't drawn it? Like,
Jeff, do you really think that we've gotten 42 or 47 reviews out there total?
If this one's Brent Talon.
Whatever name you draw up next, that's the one that's getting it.
Okay, this one's
real. And if
real.
it's Brent Talon, then it's staying with Brent Talon. I'm just telling you that right now.
TSF 76.
What is that?
TSF.
You just wrote a code. What is TSF 76?
TK429. Why aren't you at your post? Why aren't you? Let me look here.
Alpha 6. You're in med lab right now. Like, is this? So that's a person? That's somebody's like handle or whatever?
Yeah, that's the. And this was. I should have prepped a little better for this. Give me a second. Sorry.
Hey, you got to be honest. That's an awesome gamer tag, isn't it?
It is pretty great.
Brent, it's my name, but it's not my name. Brent.
I feel like I remember this one. I think this was a pretty epic. It
wasn't a lane. It wasn't the guy who called me Chuckle Nugget, was it?
or the guy who called us what was it mucus covered
man child, right? Or whatever. That guy.
Oh gosh, why is this so hard to find?
That'd be hilarious if that person is the one who won this thing, and I would override it and say no, I'm keeping it if he did.
You're like, no.
I'm pretty sure right now I am riffing for the folks on YouTube while Jeff tries to look up this guy's review to read it. And this will get cut out of the podcast. So anyway, If you guys would like to see me actually keep this thing, please go ahead and comment down below and say, go ahead, Brent, just keep it. Just keep it. TSF 46, whatever his name is, doesn't deserve it. You, by all means, with all your hard work, just look how awesome this is, man.
So if you remember, this goes back. He had sent this in. His name's Trevor. Trevor had sent this in before the contest, but he screenshotted his review and sent it. And he's the one who shared the story of meeting Claudia Christian at a Babylon 5 conference and how sharing the impact that she and the show had on his life. That's I can't. I mean, there's some great.
And then the next week, sent us an email telling us why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think this is great.
Yeah. Okay, Trevor. Congratulations, Trevor. For real. Send in your email. Just email us in. What's our email address, Jeff?
Babylon5first@gmail.com. Or actually, Trevor and I emailed back and forth. So he can just, if he's still got that around, he can respond to that. So he can respond to that. Or Babylon5 first.
We'll get this sent out to you, or don't, and I'll keep it. So
send your address.
Yes. You should not do that. Yes.
Well, Brent.
That's
it for the first season of Babylon 5.
Ooh.
The second season. So this was called Signs and Portents, was what the season was. The second season. It's called The Coming of Shadows. Now, Brent and I like to play games.
Dude, we just said that.
We did.
We just talked about that a little bit.
This is going to be a good one.
This is a thing. So shadow is a thing. It's going to be an important thing, right?
I think so.
Better be.
So you get to guess, right? This is our game. We like to guess what's coming up based on the title alone. But today, because this is a season wrap up, let's give our thoughts on just what we think is going to happen in the season in general, but also the next episode, which is called Points of Departure. So what's your high level prediction?
The coming of shadows. I still think shadows have something to do with Kosh.
Okay.
And I think what this means is we're finally, over the course of the season, like this is where things are going to go bad, right? Like the Vorlon are going to take over. They're coming, right? They're the shadows. They're coming. Where Kosh said to Morden, he's like, they're not for you. We're gonna get the who they're for. And like these guys are like, they're gonna take over, and they're gonna maybe even take over Babylon 5 or shut down Babylon 5 or something of that nature. I think that's probably where this one's gonna go. And we're gonna find out a lot about the shadows and the harbingers of death that they are for society. And maybe this winds up like everybody has to team up against the Vorlons by the end or something like that. I don't know. But that's my guess. The coming of shadows. Like maybe they won't take over just yet, but they're suddenly going to be like a super forefront force. Like they will be the clear and present danger of the show.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like maybe not quite big bad, but actually I guess that's probably what they are. They are the clear and present danger of the show, the coming of shadows.
I agree.
Yes.
Except I don't think
everybody's going to die.
I don't think it's going to be the Vorlon. I think the shadows are at the end of Chrysalis with Morden going around. He was in a room and like these little invisible weird walkie things came. And like he told them, he's like, hey guys, it's cool. These guys are Londo's down. Like Londo's our guy. I think they're the shadows. And I think the conflict, I don't think we're too far off. I think the conflict is going to be between these shadows and the Vorlon, but everyone else is going to be kind of caught in the middle. And they're going to, and I think it will come down to who is it for.
Oh, are the Vorlon going to be the heroes? Oh,
maybe.
Like they're the jerks, but they save everybody
right
by the end. Like
it's like
they are the mastermind, but they're just holding it all together.
Yeah. What do you think the episode's going to be? Points of departure.
I'm going to say that this will be an episode where everybody splits.
Okay.
So, Babylon 5 was the last best hope for peace where everybody came together. And so there's going to be like the Minbari are going to go this way, and the Earthlings will go this way, and the Centauri will go that way, and the Narn will go that way. And like everybody will, if not physically take their ball and go home, like from a political standpoint, like the peaceful alliances are broken. Be my guess.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I think this is going to be like it's the 6 months later, right? Like there's going to be a lot of time that has elapsed between Chrysalis and points of departure.
Will Delenn still be in her little cocoon?
I think it's going to be her emerging from her cocoon.
For 6 months?
I don't know if it's 6 months. Cocoon. Well, she's a pretty like fully grown Minbari woman.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be like a, caterpillar in there.
Is it going to be the same actress? Are we recasting Delenn? Is that what's happening?
I hope not.
Are we recasting her?
I really came to like her, especially in Voice in the Wilderness. Like that was it for me. But anyway, so we're going to spend some time on her. But I think the points of departure are going to be Earth focusing on the changes that President Clark has been making in the couple months since he became, and how essentially this is where Earth starts to depart, Earth Force from Babylon 5. Like we're going to stop sending you money. We're going to stop supporting this. And this is the points of departure are Earth kind of.
Is Earth gonna? Well, I mean, does that mean that Earth is pulling out of Babylon 5? In which case, Sinclair and Garibaldi and Ivanova are.
Come on, John Brady, Chuckle Nugget. What are you doing?
No respect for the content or the characters.
No, I think they'll still be there because I don't think they're going to pull out. It's going to be one of those political necessities to still be on the station and participating. But we're not going to. Just go. They're going to be the Nimbus 3. Of where we'll send David Warner out there to represent the Federation, but we don't care, and you're getting no resources.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna find out right here next week. Next week dive in to season 2 of Babylon 5. Thank you all so much for being on this wild ride with us. If you haven't already, please subscribe and then leave us a review. Cool things happen when you leave us a review. And thank you to TSF76 for sending your awesome review in. And don't forget to send us your info we can send you your awesome Babylon 5 model. And thank you again to Wash at the David Wash on Twitter.
Yeah, super shout out to Wash,
Yeah.
man. He's such a cool guy. I've known Wash through podcasting for quite a while now, and he's a cool dude. We've had lots of conversations. He's a great guy.
Yeah, it's super cool. Love the stuff. Really great. Well, Brent, until next time.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to settle this, man. We've been doing this all season long. Okay, we get to this part of the show, and we come up with some little gimmick. We don't really know how we're going to end the show, and we try to do something. We need to land. We just need to fix this for the coming season, like how we're going to close this piece out.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This is my first time.
And you can join us in our next episode to find out how we decide.
I guess we'll leave it there. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for watching. This is an extended video. How long is this one? An hour and 35 minutes.
Not
This
too
is
bad, really.
Officially our longest episode, but we literally talked about 22 episodes in this. No, 23, actually, I guess.
Yeah, because we wrapped in The Gathering.
Yeah, and that one was a two-parter, so 24 episodes all in one shot. We pulled it in. Jeff, I don't want to delay this anymore. I'm getting out of here so I can go watch this next episode because I know to find out what happens.
We're going to season 2, baby.
Yeah, come on. Let's find it. Is Sinclair and girl getting married? Is Delenn still in that stupid chrysalis thing? What's going on with the Great Council? What do you want, dude?
She's Derek Smalls, right? In Spinal Tap. Let me out of this thing.
Well, let's turn it up to 11 and get out of here. All right.
Let's do it.
All right. Bye, guys.